Well, basically, the whole adventure was finding the way. My whole time, basically, most of my 20s, I was searching for what I really like and what I really love. Film is the most difficult and complicated form of art. So nice to meet you, Chokri. I'm really excited to be here on this interview. My name is Boris Meshkov. I'm from Russia. I'm a considerably young filmmaker, currently based in Saigon, Vietnam. This is where COVID caught me, basically. So I've been studying film in Russian college for 3 years. I spent almost 1 year in Hollywood, volunteering and learning the craft of filmmaking. I've traveled Europe. I missed Paris, but I've seen almost all over Europe, like 20 countries. I've been on the south part, like French Riviera, though. Yeah, I've traveled China. I've been in Asia for more than 3 years, 3 years in China and almost 2 years now in Vietnam. And when I came to Vietnam, basically, I made my first serious steps into filmmaking. Before that, I was like a PA videographer, some near filmmaking industrial sphere. But here in Vietnam, I'm taking some serious steps into film right now.
Okay, so it's a long journey to land to Vietnam, Saigon, and you're
oh yeah,
you're about to direct your first project, right?
Yes. Not about, but this is a #1 goal. That's why I'm here in Vietnam, to make my movie happen.
Okay. And during this journey, how was I don't know, the trigger? Okay, I'm going to be the filmmaker, or because you travel a lot, you went to different places, and how did you decide to find your way, basically?
But well, basically, the whole adventure was finding the way. My whole time, basically, most of my 20s, I was searching for what I really like and what I really love. Film is the most difficult and complicated form of art. So I was interested in it since I was a teenager. I was really passionate about those great movies, but by great directors. But after that journey, when I came to Vietnam, it was clear for me, an eye-opening experience, that I have to make films. I have to make movies, and that's what I really wanted all my life. So before that, I was just searching and trying everything that life can offer me, and the best thing that life can offer to me is film.
Great. So you went to you studied films in college, but how
Yeah.
How was it? This experience there?
It was like a Russian medium low quality college. I should say the quality of education was so-so, but it was really great, like being surrounded by the same youngsters that are passionate about film, and to get in-depth knowledge of how film works, how the montage works, and screenwriting, the story making works. That was really cool. So 3 or 4 years studying film in Russia didn't really bring me much. I've had some skills, like being on set, making scripts and stuff like that. But the real experience was in Hollywood. So I spent 8 months in Los Angeles, and I managed to sneak peek as a volunteer, as a PA on the film sets, and that was it. That was the skill. That was the experience I really was looking for. But after Los Angeles, maybe for 4 or 5 years, I took a break from cinema. I wasn't making anything related. I wasn't holding my camera in my hands, even that. So yeah, my experience in Russia was basically like an introduction. It was like more the time for me to understand if I really want to make it or not. I remember myself it all began when I saw Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange when I was 14. And at that moment, I realized the power of cinema. How deep can it go? Like, besides just TV films or the films that they show in the cinema, there's some real movies with real message and like the story that can basically change your life. That's what happened to me. And I got interested and I got enrolled in film college, which didn't give me much, to be honest. Yeah, film school was some kind of I don't know, maybe too standard. Maybe they were just not really passionate, or they were crafting the young minds into like commercial filmmaking or like commercial TV or stuff like that, while I was always looking for something else, something more.
Yeah. So they're in film schools. They're basically, I think, they're doubling to do different things, and I think they're searching for their own way. So I understand.
Yeah.
They craft people in a way like to do the big budget, maybe, I don't know, the commercial projects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's basically everywhere, I think, nowadays. So yeah.
Yeah, they're teaching you to get a job after you finish the college, and not to make great movies.
It's another journey after the film school, because you're looking for a job. It's not easy at all, and you're basically
You know it.
you're basically in the jungle. So yeah. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, after my Los Angeles journey, I took this hitchhiking trip throughout Europe. So it was basically just tent behind my back, guitar, my girlfriend, and we were hitchhiking, looking for experiences and maybe looking for a place where we belong. So it was like 6 months of traveling nonstop, 20 countries. I really enjoyed Europe. Europe is beautiful, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. I couldn't find myself in any of those places, though the people are wonderful. The cities and the countries are just amazing. But I find myself here in Asia, specifically here in Vietnam, surprisingly, but here at this age and in this country, like last year, I started approaching my first film steps. I wrote my first script. I did my first pitch meetings. I represented myself as a film director because I spent years of learning this craft, and basically I was on set so many times. So I thought here and now is the perfect place. Besides, Saigon, Vietnam is a great surface now for filmmaking, because the amount of studios, the amount of professionals, the amount of companies that are making film and film-related projects, it's increasing every year.
Okay, that's great. It's different from Hollywood, do you think?
Oh yes, completely. That's maybe one of the reasons why I left Hollywood. Like, I had a chance to stay there, but my choice was to leave, because maybe the first reason is Hollywood is insane competition. Yeah. What can a young guy with no money and a lot of ideas do there? Like, there's hundreds and thousands of other guys like you, and the competition is insane. But here in Saigon, Vietnam, if you have an idea, people, well, in my own experience, people, they are really responsive, they're really supportive, they're really interested in making the real cinema, the real film, not the moneymaker, but the storyteller. So I think Vietnam, and also I should mention the support from Korean industry. and there's like Lotte, CGV, and other companies, Korean companies that are supporting Vietnam into filmmaking, and that's great.
Yeah. So there are some co-productions maybe between.
Yeah, of course. There are some cases of Koreans allowing Vietnamese to make the remake of Korean movie. Yeah, so they just give the script to the Vietnamese director and producer. They remake it, and they do it actually pretty good. Yeah, it's a commercial one. It's like a cinema family-friendly stuff, but it's good quality. It's much better quality than it used to be before.
Yeah, I will take a look. Maybe it could be a good surprise. Maybe.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. All right. About your last project, can you tell me what is it about, or your current project, maybe?
Yeah. So this is my #1 project. That's I'm working since I came to Vietnam almost 2 years ago. It's called Saigon 3000. It's a series of short films and feature, basically series of stories set up in a sci-fi setting, sci-fi genre. It represents Vietnam, Saigon, in the world of future, as you can guess, by Saigon 3000. So it all started with a script, as I mentioned. Just one day I woke up here in Vietnam and I realized, boom, this is the story that I want to tell. And it's called Mu. It's a story about the monk who transfers himself into cyberspace. This movie is a mix of Vietnamese ancient traditional culture and the futuristic technical culture. So I wanted to blend it together. So this idea was really cool, and I started pitching all the people who are interested, and I got huge response in here from people and like big interest. Unfortunately, due to lack of my inexperience maybe, or due to COVID, like it's still not happening, but it's frozen because I know that this project has potential to be happen, and I'm still really passionate about that. So besides Moo, there is a script of The Runner. It's another sci-fi movie, but it's more a step from a philosophical deep of science fiction to a nostalgic 90s VHS action movies, closer to Blade Runner and Altered Carbon, and more to step to cyberpunk aesthetics. And I wrote some scripts besides that are really close reference to Black Mirror. So I was really inspired by this TV series. I think it brings something fresh on the table right now. So I wrote Genesia. It's a story about the suicidal guy and the company who basically prevents suicide from all over the world in a commercial way. There is a movie called Glitch about the girl who has the anti-shaking hand device because she has Parkinson's. She gets the device implanted, but the glitch happens and she's stuck in the middle of the space of the road in the middle of the street. And another one is about a mother who lost her child, and she found a way through another glitch to communicate with her daughter using a VR headset. So yeah, all of those stories are combined into this Saigon 3000 setting. I have much more raw and uncooked scripts that I have, and much more ideas. Yeah, and for now, I have the website. I have like the big pitch Bible that I present to every producer that is interested. And basically, I prove to myself and I prove to other people that ideas are not a problem. If you devote your whole time into writing stories and making films, ideas are not a problem at all. So now the problem is to find money for the director who has no movies at all. So yeah, and during this COVID times, it's like the double challenge, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. So the project is currently in pre-production, and
Yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, you met different people, different potential producers or potential, I don't know, people they can fund your film project. So how was the process, all of it? It was good, bad. So you have a lot of response from them, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd like to go in depth into this process. So um, when I came to Saigon, basically I was a guy with nothing, with no friends, nobody knew me, but I was the guy with the idea and passion for film. And I was just connecting with people, all the interested people, and doesn't matter who they are. If they're in film and if they're really passionate about film, I was always welcoming. I was sharing my ideas. I was encouraging them to do something more. So I was meeting with visual effects artists, Vietnamese and foreign artists. I was meeting with script writers and just sharing my ideas and listening to their response. I wasn't searching for money at that point. I was just trying to discover if I'm right or wrong in doing this thing. And what I've discovered that if you're really passionate, don't stop the passion, don't stop the love. But there are some things that you have to learn. Like people need to know who you are and what can you do. So after a year in Vietnam, I managed to make the music video for local pop star singer Kung Seven. You can compare it to Western Justin Timberlake of Vietnam. He is like pretty recognizable. So I was lucky to get his attention. I was lucky to get his trust, and I make a music video, 2 music videos for him in the similar setup as my movies. So it was like heavy neon, sci-fi, cyberpunk visuals, and this project, when it was released, basically it opened the door for me for big funding. So before that, I was just meeting with random people who are interested, and of course that won't bring you any money because you're just a guy with a paper shouting, "Hey, I have a movie idea," and it works. It worked for me as to get this invitation from this pop singer. He saw my ideas, he saw my treatment, he saw my style, and he invited me to make this. That was a really lucky call, I should say. But after that, I started taking it much more seriously. So I was not meeting with some random people. I was striking directly to the studios. So I've learned a lesson, and maybe the people who are listening right now will learn that also. So most of the countries, most of the places, and I'm pretty sure that all over Europe has film studios, video studios, production companies that do filming. And some of them are really interested in helping, contributing, or partly investing into some film projects, if it's really good. It does really matter how you present your idea. So I was pitching my movie hundreds of times. I was having like 3 or 4 meetings a day with different people and telling the story of this monk and this runner again and again and again. And after that, I learned how to not waste people's time, not to go into details or tell how you're going to put this camera in here, how you're going to do this VFX. No, just the juice. And when you learn how to pitch properly, quick, informative, and interesting, and pitch basically, you will find no problems of getting attention from those film and video studios. That's what happened to me in here. Most of the film studios here in Saigon, Vietnam, they know about me. They know what I do. But due to this COVID stuff, for now, it's all frozen because they're struggling as well. So I still hope that we can overcome this terrible time and come back into action. Yeah, so I can say this this strategy works, and in my own experience, it's the best strategy to make the movie. I think. I hope.
Yeah, definitely. You met different people, and you just you realized that maybe you can tell me if I'm right. Um, the people you reach to fund your film, they need it's about the financial matter at the end, how they can
Mhm.
how they can find I don't know, a solution for at the end of this project, how they can be how they can find interest in the end, because I thought about sponsoring maybe, different, the project placement, stuff like this, and
Mhm.
there's always an interest in the at the end. So what do you think about this process?
Yeah. Um, well, I wish I knew that there's like a perfect way to get money from the investors. But I can say it all starts with a simple treatment, or a pitch Bible, like a document. There should be a document, and nowadays it's better to be a visual document that represents your idea, quick and accessible. Nobody reads script right now. That's no, nobody reads script. In my own, I learned this lesson. If you just use the words on the paper, it doesn't work at all. So some visuals, they work. You can make a short trailer. You can make a video presentation. In my case, I just did the reference pictures from different movies that I like, some scenes that I like, and put it all together into my story. And it was all on the PDF file with like 5 or 6 pages. So when people read this, they can clearly understand without even talking to me. They can clearly understand what I want. And if that's what the studio or investor is really interested in doing, so yeah, of course, they will contact you and they will support you with some money. Who are investors? Investing is not only money. It's not only like the budget. Investing is also equipment, a crew, or distribution, or stuff like that. Anything that can help you to make your movie happen. So besides money, there's can be some kind of contribution from investors.
Yeah. And about the camera and video editing, which
Mhm.
do you think about this part to make your next movie? So
Uh, that's interesting question. Of course, I want the Panavision, the top-notch Panavision camera with anamorphic lens. Everybody dreams about it. But actually, I just came to the point with whatever the chance I have to make. If I have Alexa, that's great. If I have Red, that's great. But if I don't have a choice and I have to ask my friend with Blackmagic 6K, it's also fine. So when you're making a film, the camera or equipment or all this technical stuff, production stuff, it doesn't really matter. You get what you get to the maximum. Like if you have a chance to get this location, you just shoot in this location. What matters is the story, and that's what most of the filmmakers and Hollywood studios, they forget. nowadays. It's the story, it's the script. I wish Hollywood was paying more money, the same amount of money to the script writers than to the VFX artists or the actors or those stars, you know. If they pay those millions into the script, oh my God, it would be the next age of filmmaking. So it's all about the story. It's all about the script. The more time you put in the script, the less time you put in the production. When you have a good story to tell, it doesn't matter what camera you use, really. Panavision is great. Panavision is awesome. It's like a honey to your eyes. You know, the image is it's such a pleasure to watch that. But if you shoot it on Blackmagic, even if you shoot it on iPhone 4K, if the story is good, it doesn't matter how it looks like in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, can you tell me about what do you think about the sound, music, and light in general? And how do you work with how you use them on set? Or...
Yeah. So lighting basically is the job of the DOP, the cameraman. It's 50% of his job. 50% camera and 50% lighting. Basically, without lighting, you cannot make the stage or setup or anything like that. Some directors, they use lighting as a tool, like a really cool tool to tell a story. I'm trying to learn that also. I think it can achieve a really depth of the character or the tool, but some directors, they completely ignore it. Like Stanley Kubrick in Full Metal Jacket, there was barely any lighting setup. Still, one of the greatest war movies ever made. So I just trying to follow the simple setup, lighting setup principle. It's the just highlight the object that you're talking to in your frame. So what is not important, get it darker. What is important, get it lighter. That's it. Color is not that important, but if you're showing a girl in your frame, so put a little bit more light on her. And if there is a trash can that has nothing to do with the story, put less light on it. And that's it. I'm trying to be less creative in terms of lighting. But if I have a chance, of course, I'm having fun with the lighting setup. And the sound, well, the sound comes first, before the visual. So it's like our body mechanism. First we hear and then we see. If there is a police car or an ambulance with a siren, first we hear it and then we see it. So our brain first accepts the sound. So I think in films, it's really important, the way things sound, the way people sound, and the music. So all that combination can already bring the story. If you remember, of course, you remember the silent movies of at the beginning of 20th century. There was barely any sound, but still it tells a story. So I assume that you can make a movie without any sound and still it's going to be a movie. You can make a movie without the music, like No Country for Old Men, and it's still going to be a story. So I would say sound is not necessary for a film. It sounds weird, but it is. It's not necessary to make a movie to tell a story, but it's a really powerful tool. It's a weapon. It's a storytelling weapon that can hit really hard and really deep. In my case, I think as an artist, I'm trying to use this combination of visual and audio together. Still shot of the character just sitting on the bench. If it's silent, it tells nothing about that. But if there's some kind of music like rising, or there's like cicadas or birds chirping, there's already story. So as I said, it's not necessary, but if you use sound and music, it can be really punchy and it can bring you really deep into the story.
Yeah, okay. We were talking about the light, and when you move your hand up like this, the lighting changing a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
We're talking about.
I'm using it.
That's right, because there's back on your back there's some lighting, and when you
Yeah.
move your hand like this, it was changing the aspects, you know. But anyway,
Yeah.
but that and was very good point.
Well, that wasn't intentionally. Whatever happens, happens.
Was not on purpose, but I understand the words. Tell me, what is your best experience on set? Do you have some anecdotes maybe?
Oh, so I should say that the best experience I had is my directorial debut on this music video that I mentioned for this Commencement, for the singer. It was my first time basically in the role of director on set, and I couldn't feel better than that. I couldn't feel happier than that, being there and being in the flow. I'm trying to remember some weird stories every time I'm on set, no matter if I'm director or not. There is something weird happening, some stuff happening. But I should say, since then, every time I'm directing a video, maybe it's a Vietnamese workflow or it happens on every set. But I noticed that in the beginning, the crew and yourself in the morning, when you set it up, you're pretty slow. Like you're taking your time to set it up and make nice shots, and you spend like several hours to make the first scene and stuff like that. But it all ends up at 5 a.m. next morning, trying to finish all the scripted storyboard shots really fast. So that's the lesson that I learned, trying to catch this tempo and rhythm constant and keep it constant throughout the whole shooting. So the speed of your workflow in the beginning of the shooting should be the same as in the end. Yeah. My first that music video finished at 5 a.m. and we started at 6 a.m. So it was like 23 or 24 hours of shooting. And I know Hollywood rule is like 14 hours on set, but we were like low on budget and we wanted to make everything in one day. So we ended up that DOP at 3 a.m. He said like, I'm so tired, man. I just cannot do it. And he just left his focus puller and his camera crew and told us like, do it by yourself, guys. I just have no power. And I respected that because he put a lot of effort to making those shots. So every single time I'm not following this rhythm, I end up holding the camera by myself or like controlling things in really fast-paced way. And it's funny to remember, but when you're at that moment, it's not really funny. It's like really stressful pick because you're having the storyboard, the script in your hand, and then there is the cast, the talent is sleeping on the sofa, and you have to kick everybody out. Hopefully these shots are good in the end, and the result of those efforts are great. So this is the main thing. Like after all this struggle, after all those mistakes, the result is pretty astonishing and satisfying.
Oh, great. I want to ask you, how can you find a balance in your daily life, like maybe in private or in professional way, or do you have to do another job, or how can you find a balance for all of
Oh, okay. That's a good question. um, I don't think there's any balance if you really want to make it into film, if especially a film director or a filmmaker. Like film again, the film is the most complicated thing, and I would compare film to a woman that won't handle the rivalry. You know, if you decide to make movies, you devote 100% of your time, 100% of your money, 100% of your resources to it. So, to my experience, there is no balance. If I'm trying to step aside, like I'm a drummer and guitar player also. I love playing music, but throughout the whole year, every time I had like some attempts to start a band or make music on a side. It just didn't happen on both ways. I was failing in film and I was failing in music. I was taking some part-time jobs as a videographer just to make some money. And again, it didn't work. The film didn't work and this job didn't work well. So there's actually no balance if you're stepping into a film. And I think it it is only about like film sphere, because it will ask you to sacrifice the 100% of you, 100% of your time, like and I think this is the only and the best and way to make movies. This year it was pretty slow in terms of production wise, but I've established myself to be able to work 100% on the films, write scripts, discuss it on film, like search for my possibilities, and not doing anything else besides that. Um, this is pretty edgy because definitely there is no income. There is barely some private life. There is barely any parties. So I had to sacrifice the normal life, the comfort zone, for filmmaking. But the results, I got the results, and I'm pretty happy with it. And I hope there's going to be my final result of making the film finally. And I hope this all sacrifice is not for nothing.
Okay. About the crowdfunding, are you going to set up a crowdfunding fundraising for the project? Or?
Yes, this is one of the ways to get money for your film. Have you heard of Kung Fury, the YouTube movie?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I love it, and I love the movie itself, and I love the way they produced it. So it was a crowdfunding campaign, and the goal was $200,000, but actually they ended up like with more than $600 to make a house. That's a great example of filmmaking, like independent filmmaking, and I really admire it, and it inspires me. So crowdfunding is the way, but it takes certain amount of time and certain amount of skill to run the crowdfunding campaign. For me, just by myself, I cannot do it personally. I did my research on how to start a crowdfunding, but it's just not what I'm really good at. I tried it and I failed. Maybe that guy from Kung Fury, maybe he was lucky, or maybe he had like some good friends who helped him with that, or maybe he was working really hard on that, on the crowdfunding. But it's not for everyone, I just guess. Not for me, definitely.
Yeah, it's another job, you know.
Oh yes, it's it's another job.
What do you think about the film festivals? I don't know. I don't think you're experienced it because you're going to make a movie. So, how do you think so far about film festivals?
Film festivals are really great, but I think it's a really old school, outdated form of maybe a part of film industry. To be honest, most of the film directors, young film directors, they make their movies to submit for film festival. So basically, what they do, they are making the movie to be appreciated by a bunch of old people that will say if they like it or not. You don't know those people, and yeah, maybe they are professionals in some sort of field, but they know nothing about your ideas, your concept, or what you want to say with making this movie. So personally, I think maybe before in the 70s and 80s, Cannes Festival, Venice Festival, Sundance Festival, Busan festivals, they were serving a certain role in film industry. It kept like the new fresh film blood flowing, like Pulp Fiction by Tarantino was recognized and confessed. That's basically gave him the start. Uh, in that way, the festivals did work pretty well. But now I see the festivals, they can kind of lose the meaning of visit film festival. Before, just regular people were watching, coming to the film festival to watch something new, something fresh, and to support young filmmakers. But now it's just a competition to be awarded. It's like not a rat race, but definitely a race to get recognized. And this is wrong. I personally think this is terribly wrong. Films shouldn't be made in competition. Films shouldn't be made for appreciation by some people. It should be made to tell the story again. So yeah, now film festivals is just an event to keep the film fans excited or something like that. But even Oscar, the award stuff, it's losing their meaning. It doesn't matter anymore right now. Film is pretty available to the audience, and they don't have to go to the festival. They don't even have to go to the cinema nowadays. All they have to do is just open Netflix, their TV at home, and yeah, this is the fastest connection between the young filmmaker and the audience right now. Yeah. Also, film festivals, they do some grants, and as I know, to my experience, there's just some producers hanging out on these festivals, and they are looking for some potential new genius in film, but I think it's outdated and doesn't really work now.
Yeah. What do you think about the film festivals or this platform? They can put together people like the fans and the independent filmmakers.
Mm.
There's a showcase of the film. What do you think about this?
Yeah. Anything that has like a similar mechanics, connecting fans, the audience with the filmmakers is great. It's like the new step into the future, basically. The easier you get this connection between the listener and the storyteller, is the better, basically. Everyone deserves to be heard if they have something to tell. So avoiding this endless submissions on festivals, months of waiting and stuff like that. If you can just make a movie, upload it somewhere, and find your audience right away, that would be great. And if in the future it will be developed, the film will have a new wave. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, definitely. I think you know Vimeo. Vimeo,
Yeah.
it's this platform so that you can upload your film. You can people can
Mm-hmm.
chase your movie, your film, and
Mm-hmm.
so you can find your audience through this way. I think. So you think it's
Mm-hmm.
the idea we have to develop more and more?
I think Vimeo and YouTube are just the platforms where you're holding your movie as a data holder, as a drive. So there is like some rare cases that only YouTube or only Vimeo served as a good distributor for your film. So if you just upload it to Vimeo and expect people to watch it, that won't happen. If you upload it on YouTube, that won't happen at all. You have to shout out about your project to the other social media platforms, of course, and use them all. So this is how it's working. Distributing is like another part of filmmaker and like post-production process. And sometimes it can be more complicated as the production itself. So you have to use all the resources, and just Vimeo is not enough. Just YouTube is not enough as well. I can share the example of the short film that we released here recently. So me and my Vietnamese friend, film director, also young, we shot, he directed a short movie. We spent 2 days for shooting last year, and I was supporting. And in August this year, he uploaded this short film on YouTube. It's 30 minutes short film drama. And what he did is just posted on Facebook, shared with friends, and that's it, basically. He gave a couple of interviews for a local newspaper, and that's it. And surprisingly, there was a huge feedback from people. For 1 month, it got 700 views on YouTube, bunch of comments, bunch of likes, and aside from YouTube, it was mentioned in the news. It was mentioned with some really big film names in here in Vietnam. So for a beginner filmmaker. So what will is YouTube is not enough, and with Vimeo is definitely not enough to make your movie watched by the audience. You have to use all the resources for sure.
Okay, right. I saw just quick, just before to continue, I saw the message that the internet was not good enough, but it should be okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It was
And
hello.
hello. Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear, but
Yeah.
okay, it was frozen. The image was frozen. Now it's good. Now it's good.
Okay.
Okay. Just
Yeah, a little bump.
it's perfect. It's all right. It should be all right. So okay, let's continue. Okay. It's about the technology nowadays. Someone can buy a camera and can buy video editing and can start to make a film. Do you think it's the future of cinema or not?
Of course. Camera is available to anyone right now on your phone. It's so easy, and this is great. Going back in 50 years, if you want to make a movie, you know, you have to get the camera, the film, and the editing equipment, and it was such a mess dealing with that stuff. But now you can make a movie basically using your phone. It's true saying that the most important thing in film is the story and the script, but you cannot make a film without a camera. Like, this is the only tool that technical tool that you need to make film with. Without a camera, there's no film. Without a camera, it's a book, it's a podcast, it's an audiobook, but it's not a film. You can make a movie without actors, without music, without anything, but without camera, there's no film. So yeah, definitely, it is the opportunity for all the people to tell their story, express their feeling using the visual tool as the camera.
Okay. And you partly answer it. What do you think about the current cinema lately?
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of things to tell about this. It's definitely facing the drop, the really bad, deep drop in terms of quality And I think the peak of cinema was in the 90s when Hollywood just was in bloom with those movies as Titanic, Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump. Those were great movies, and probably not only in terms of storytelling, but in terms of coverage. So the whole world could watch those movies. And basically, it was the whole generation of people that saw these movies and they're influenced by them. So I think 90s was the peak. But now it's a couple of days ago, I was watching the box office, like top selling movies. And 2019, 2020, the first 20 films, it's a remake, a sequel of a remake of a sequel. It's oh my God. It's those films are not based on life. Those films are based on other films, and it's a strict moneymaker. I will go straight for Disney, Marvel, or other studios that are remaking movies. They are rebooting franchises. It's just moneymaker. And the average person that is far from cinema, he sees the poster of Ghostbusters or Matrix, and he already gets excited. Boom, he will buy the ticket. No matter what the movie is good or bad, he will buy the ticket. And unfortunately, like it makes me really sad, but unfortunately, the studios managed to make a lot of money out of it. But sooner or later, they will run out of those franchises to reboot. There will be nothing to remake. And they will have to write original scripts again. I hope Hollywood will come back to this point. I think Korean film industry is really on the rise now. If you remember Parasite by Bong Joon-ho, it's a great movie. It's so it's an original story. It's not a remake, and the movie is amazing. There's another movie, Knives Out, or there's the movie Us, Get Out. Those original movies are really great, but it's so little of them. It's not enough. In the box office, there's somewhere on the bottom. And next time you will bring the original idea, the producers, they won't support it just because it's not profitable, and it's terrible. People will go to the cinema, they will pay the ticket just for the remake. But I hope there, and like I think there's going to be new wave of film when whatever people will get tired of remakes, or there will be a certain amount of like really great ideas for the film, or there is going to be like a new form of filmmaking delivering the visual story. There's definitely going to be the comeback of the cinema. But for now, as an average person, prefers to stay at home and watch Netflix, and it's totally fine. Why would you bother to go to the cinema and spend 2 or 3 hours watching to the dull film and paying ticket for that? So I can understand that the form is changing right now. I still do prefer going to the cinema. The upcoming Dune, the director Denis Villeneuve, he said like watching Dune on your TV is like riding a speedboat in your bathtub. I totally agree with that. I do love this cinema experience when you're not at home, distracted by your phone, distracted by your friends or relatives or neighbors. You're just in this dark room with a huge screen and like the loud sound, and you get so immersed in what's happening on the screen, and nothing else. You forget about everything. You forget about your life. You forget about anything, and you're there in the story. So that can happen only in the cinema, and I hope, and I think it will come back one day in a different form, but it will definitely come back.
Yeah, I think it started in a way, of course, to some extent, but like immersive experience with decoration,
Mm-hmm.
dark room. You think, I don't know, if it's a Christmas movie, there's a, I don't know, there's a tree, Christmas tree or stuff like this. They have to, I don't know, to be very inventive to attract people in this dark room. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it could be complementary to have this kind of immersive experience in a dark room with a big screen. And we have some films in you at home. So I think it's a balance. I think, but definitely some movies you have to go to to see it on a big screen and nothing else because they're not intended to do otherwise. So there's no logical.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Okay. Um, if okay, the next question. If you have the opportunity to work with someone, who could it be?
In film?
Yeah, could be film.
Oh, interesting, interesting. I would work with Trent Reznor. He is the soundtrack composer he did a lot of soundtracks for a lot of great movies. I would say that I would work with Hans Zimmer, but I think that's where Hans Zimmer. So I don't have that epic story yet, an epic idea yet for Hans Zimmer, but I would be really interested to work with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I was listening to their soundtracks separately, and the one that really impressed me is the Gun Girl soundtrack, and it's such an amazing chemistry between visual and audio put together into this film, Gun Girl. So just listening to that soundtrack, you can kind of feel what's the story about. Yeah, even without watching the movie, and that was surprised me and really impressed me by his work. So there's other people definitely that I want to work with: David Fincher, Leo DiCaprio, of course, and other great people. But the first that comes to my mind is Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Those guys are really talented, and I find some personal connection to their art.
Okay. The next one. What do you wish as a filmmaker in the short, mid, and long run?
No, one more time, please.
Okay. What do you wish as a filmmaker in the short, mid, and long run?
And short, medium?
Mid and long run.
Mid and long run? What do you mean by that?
I mean, like the near future, in the next future in 10 years or 20 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Well, I hope now I can make at least one movie, one feature film. That's my only desire, my only dream. At least one feature film, and after that, let's see what happens. I'm hoping to make as much movies as I can, record as much albums as I can to be productive to the maximum. But for the short run, is making a film right now. At my age, it's like this is the time it should be made. I have the idea, the passion, I have the energy, and I just don't have the money. But it should be happening right now. And if I manage to do that, I will do another movie and many others.
Yeah, great. I wish you to do this. So yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Which tips can you give to someone who's gonna start?
Start with the story. It's all about the story. I won't be tired of telling this, but it's true. Filmmaking is the storytelling. A lot of young filmmakers, a lot of young people who are passionate about film, when they have chance or they decide to make a movie, first thing they do is like placing the camera. Okay, I'm gonna put the camera in here and it's gonna move like this, and then the actor will say, and then bam, 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 we'll put some guns and explosions there. No, forget about it. Forget about the camera. Forget about the placement. Tell the story first. It's not about the movement. When you start with the story, you basically planting the seed for your film. If you want the film to be really good, impressive, start with the story and finding the camera angles, finding this equipment locations, and it's not going to be a problem at all when you understand what are you talking about, what's the story is about, what's your personal message, and most importantly, why are you doing this. So the tip for the beginners, I would say there's 3 questions, like what are you doing, how are you going to do it, and why are you doing. And why are you doing this is the most important. When you find the answer to this question, filmmaking will be so easy for you, 100%.
Yeah, I think you're right, because sometimes the goal is different. The goals,
Yes.
different people, they're doing for, I don't know, maybe for fame or whatever. So they have a personal connection maybe with the story as well. It could be the true story or different. Yeah. So yeah, you have to answer. You have to question yourself. Why am I doing this film? What is the purpose? What is the goal? Because at the end, you're going to show to the audience and your connection. You're about to connect with people, with the audience through the story. So yeah, definitely.
Yes, exactly.
I
The most one of the secrets of success of the movie, like a good story movie, is that the audience they can relate themselves to the character. When in Shawshank Redemption, there's a guy who's innocent and he spends years in prison. I doubt that most of the viewers were in prison, but that feeling when he's released and he's like in the rain, he's finally free. Everybody can relate that kind of feeling, and that's what inspires people. That basically what ignites something inside people's heart. On the other side, there's Danish film director Lars von Trier. I'm a fan of this guy. He was using he and still using the film as a personal reliving. So he brings his personal fears, his pain, his negative life experience into film, and then tells the audience, watch it. Whoever can relate to it, it's cool. But it's like, it's his personal prayer. So he puts his own traumas, his own pain and suffering into the film. I'm pretty sure he doesn't expect his movies to be watched at all, but the way he does it is pretty impressive. So you see, there's 2 ways of telling a story, like your personal one, just putting it on the table, and whoever likes it, okay. But you can listen to the people and think about what troubles them, what causes the pain for most of the people, and put that in the movie, not your personal, but the people's problems into the film. And when you put it in the story, the results will be for sure astonishing.
Yeah. And about the movie, which movie or series did grab your attention lately?
I should say Black Mirror and Love, Death and Robots. That's why I choose sci-fi. I was really impressed by it. Was completely something new for me when I watched the first season of Black Mirror. I was blown away. This is something new. It was talking about the near future. It's dark, it's dramatic, but what I really liked is that finally there is something that is based on our modern life. So they are talking about smartphones, they are talking about social media, they are talking about internet. while other movies are still talking about love, they are talking about the topics that were already discovered years before. But Black Mirror was discovering something new that is happening right now, and that's why I was so impressed. Love, Death, and Robots is the same thing. So I was impressed by by those things, and I decided to make something similar, but infused by my own personal vision. So yeah, those two things. I think I already promoted myself pretty well during this podcast, but if there's still some listeners that still listening us to this point, just visit my page on Facebook, and you can learn more about me and what I do. There is like my Instagram, that music video, the page to the website of Saigon 3000, and you can text me, you can chat about anything related with me, or just chat with me. And that's it. I would be really excited and happy to connect with someone that's interested.